Here at Rick's Pitstop, we use the KISS method. KISS method is keep it simple, stupid. So this is an easy way to start up your fire. Get some old newspaper, rip it into pieces. And I recommend everybody get a chimney. It is the easiest thing for you to start up fire. Just use the old newspaper, ball it up into little balls. Stuff it in the bottom. You can use paper bags. All you're really doing is just stuffing it up. Now, I'll get a couple of lumber kits. You can use wood or whatever you're going to fire it up. And because I'm going to be smoking, I don't need too many briquettes because we're really trying to do is just have a nice little fire. We want to get some coals that are nice and hot so that I could use a log. You get a good flavor from the smoke with the log. So now I got that lit up. Take your handy dandy lighter and you light the papers up. I recommend this thing so if you ever go camping, it's an easy way to start up a campfire. You go barbecuing anywhere, you know, to the park, to the beach. You see a lot of those old school barbecue pits that have like it's already cemented in, like there's no movement. You can use something like this to get the coals started up, and it's just easier for you. Now I know a lot of OG barbecue people are like, "You're using briquettes? What kind of a bastard are you?" You know, I don't care. Your opinion is irrelevant to me. I use briquettes to start up my fire. And then after my briquettes are nice and hot, I'll throw in the wood, keep it nice and low and slow, and that's the way I smoke my meat. We'll let that start. It takes about 5-10 minutes. I also encourage people to use wood chunks. These wood chunks are awesome. Let's see if I can open it. These wood chunks are really awesome. They can help you to maintain your heat and your temperatures for somebody that's barely learning, like I am. This helps me to maintain my heat. And what I like to do is I'll take them out of the bag, and then I'll get all these little chips, like these ones, and I'll soak them in water. So when I add it to my firebox, and I say that the flame is too high or the temperature is too high, I could throw in those soaked wood chips, and that'll, you know, with the moisture of the wood chips, that'll bring down the temperature a little bit, and you'll get a burst of the vapor, of the smoke, of the steam, and it actually helps to flavor the meat that you're making. So that's a little tip that I found out from trial and error. Ooh, it's hot. But if you can't stand the heat, what you doing in the barbecue pit? Let's go, bro. You can smell it. You can smell it. Especially when they restock them at the store, you can always smell it. It's really good. I'll show you after I soak some of these. Let's see how it smells. What I like to do is I bend the grate a little bit, so you can get it close, brothers. Because when you're cooking in here, right? And let's say you're doing a long cook, the ashes will build underneath it. And then when the ashes build underneath it, there's no ventilation, and then there's nowhere for the ash to go when you're adding stuff. So I'll bend it up a little bit so that it will go through, and then I might only have to empty the firebox maybe once in a long cook. You don't want to have to keep emptying out the ashes, because it's going to mess with your temperature a lot. So you really want to have a method of when you empty out the ashes quickly, so it doesn't really mess with your temperatures too much. Remember, keep it simple, stupid. So I'm not really looking for the coals to be super hot, just hot enough to where I'm going to be able to add the log to it. So this is cool. And I just use this, kind of just put it out like that. My log. Just put it in. Close it up. Put these in here. And once it gets nice and hot, I'm gonna clean the grates with my grate cleaner. And don't forget to open up your vent. We got our water pan. And what I do is I put my water pan next to where the heat comes from. I don't know if you can see it because of all the smoke. And you don't want to use cold water. You want to use hot water. This is not boiling hot water, but it's hot water, because it's going to take a long time to heat up in there. So it's better just to use hot water. Some people like to put a little bit of, they'll put apple juice in there, or maybe they'll put a little bit of vinegar in there. It's just that it's going to steam up, and that's what's also adding flavor to your meat. So now it's pretty hot. So just get this, and I just kind of give it a nice little rub down like that. Now for my favorite part, putting down the meat. Alright guys, this is my favorite part. Here are my ribs. Now, I marinated these last night. And they've been marinating ever since last night, I'm sorry. I seasoned them last night. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bone side down. There's another one. You want to put the bone side down. Third one. Now, some people might want to put the other extra rack. There's another rack I have that I could put on top. But I'm gonna try to go for it like this. Bone side down. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it every 45 minutes and I'm gonna rotate them so they're all cooking evenly. And just because this one's here or this one's here or this one's here, it's not gonna cook differently. I'm just gonna keep rotating them. And then that last hour and 45 minutes of the cook, I'm gonna wrap them up in foil. I'm gonna add a little butter. I'm gonna add some golden brown sugar, and I'm just gonna put them in that foil for that last hour, maybe 2 hours, and let them get real tender. So right now we're letting out a lot of smoke. So remember, if you're looking, you're not cooking. So my temp isn't really building up too high, and I don't want to get overly excited about it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add just 2 wood chunks to the back, and maybe 1 more. I want to get the nice big chunks, and use my faithful crowbar, and just get the back part of the log, and that'll shoot up the temperature to right around where I want it. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes for the heat to reach its peak in here. So every time you lift your lid or you lift this lid, it takes about 10 minutes to get it back to where you want it. So you really don't want to keep opening your lid very often, and you really want to be aware of which way the wind is blowing, because if you come this way, we have a vent right here. Now if the wind is blowing and it's coming from this side, it's going to affect your flame. It's going to affect your fire. So what you would do is you would rotate the smoker to that side. So when the wind comes in, it'll give it some air, and that'll help the fire, and that'll help your temp. And if it's too much air, then you could actually choke up on it, close it up a little bit, close it up a little bit, and you can regulate your temperatures. So it's a science, you know. But remember, keep it simple, stupid. Pay attention. So I don't really want this temperature exceeding over 310, 320, because I do have 3 ribs in there, and I do want to cook them nice, not too fast, not too slow. So if the heat goes a little too over, that's where I get some of these guys that have been soaking, and I'll throw them in there, and that'll reduce the temperature.